in the course of doing DevOps practices in the wild. Deployments are a great example of this. These are the sorts of things that should not be big and scary and momentous. You should be able to do these multiple times a day. This should not be shocking. As a result, I recommend a whiskey to pair with it that is relatively accessible. It's nicely aged. They're 10 years, usually out of single barrel. However, they tend to be pretty accessible, about $22 a bottle. So, I call it table whiskey. Monitoring is another fun example that I like to talk about. The idea here is that if you're monitoring things by hand and doing it piece by piece, you're going to be inconsistent across the board. We've tried it for 20 years. It doesn't work. You have to wind up with a process to monitor things. That's why I like Johnny Walker Black Label. It tends to be about 60 to 70% hard to, but it's consistent year to year, and no matter where on the planet you go, it tastes the same. There's a process engineering lesson here. It's life-changing. Now, there's also a bit of a challenge when you inadvertently break things. And this doesn't mean that it should be a career-ending move, but it should sting a little. There should be a bit of a chunk of failure on you at a certain point. Which is why I like the honey liqueur and lemon blues. The first half of a sip is wonderful, and then you realize, oh God, what have I done? Can I send this back? No. You know what you did. There's also times when you're not going to be using a tool that exists. You're going to be writing one from scratch. This is sort of the big graduation being a systems administrator to being a DevOps unicorn. Results will vary, and it's not quite going to be what you expect the first time. Be careful out there. There are sometimes some quality control problems. There's also times to walk into a shop. In fact, I asked a number of people this weekend so far about what are you using for configuration management. Well, we use Heroku, someone said. Someone else said, we don't have time to deal with that problem. There's really only one thing to drink at that point. Drink until it stops hurting. It doesn't get better from there. Never time to do it right, always time to do it over. This is another one where DevOps, so developer and operations. So I'm going to hire a developer to work on our core application half the time and do operations the other half. That's not DevOps. That's two jobs. You're going to fail at least one of them. Now, it says whiskey on the bottle. Technically it says Jack Daniels, which is, let's face it, not whiskey. But it's also not quite whiskey. It's also certainly not anything I would ever term as cool. This, for those who don't follow revision control, means that you have just changed history. You have reached out into the past, and suddenly everyone is trying to make change to this as broken things. There is one thing for you to drink. They say that a group of whales is called a pod, a group of crows is called a murder, a group of developers is called a merge conflict. When you commit something and it's broken and the automated test suite catches it, congratulations, you've arrived. This is exactly how it was intended to do. It will not let you break things because you're catching these things with an automated same process. That's when you reach for a nice single malt. It tends to be one of those things that you can use to celebrate, to let yourself know that you've arrived. I like Lagavulin, but again, your results may vary. There's one more occurrence that sometimes winds up leading to interesting stories. Now, is it a talk? Is it a cry for help? You decide. Thank you for your time.